It's day 153 of President Trump's 4 to 6 week war in Iran. Despite international efforts to find a negotiated solution to the war, is the war actually escalating, potentially out of control? It was only yesterday that President Trump threatened a heavy response to Iran's surprise attacks earlier in the previous day. And sure enough, Central Command has confirmed overnight America delivered. Over a 2-hour window, there was a succession of attacks against Iran military targets that included missiles, drones, surveillance capability, and a number of other targets in the region. Central Command have released this footage only earlier today. But what were the main targets for these strikes? Well, although they ranged across a fair amount of Iran, once again, the Strait of Hormuz was the main focus. Qeshm Island, why has that been a focus? Well, America is trying to degrade Iran's ability to strike commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. In addition, Bushehr was struck. It's worth remembering that's the only nuclear power plant that Iran owns, but there's no suggestion that that was being targeted in the strikes overnight. In response, Iran fired 5 ballistic missiles, apparently all towards Jordan, US military facilities there. Central Command confirmed that all of those missiles were intercepted. What is interesting, despite the fact all of this warfare going around, some commercial traffic is still making its way through the Strait of Hormuz, although largely it's used in the northern route, which is the one sanctioned by Iran. But Sky's data and forensic team have been tracking some of the movement, and you see 2 vessels trying to make it through the southern route actually turn back. The timing of that appears to be about the same sort of time as the American attacks against Iran yesterday. So although this started as a war between America and Iran, it does appear as if it's actually expanding quite significantly. We've been talking about the conflicts around the Strait of Hormuz, but it's only yesterday that America attacked some Iraq targets, Iran-sponsored militia in the region. Today, there's been the funerals for up to 20 of the Iraqis, and there's been lots of anti-American rhetoric at those funerals. Down the Bab al-Mandab Straits down here, the Houthis remain a threat to international shipping, but also to Saudi Arabian oil exports. Saudi Arabia, for its part, has appealed to the international community for help getting the Bab al-Mandab Strait open. In the past, 2 years ago, America and the UK operated together to forcibly take on the Houthis. It doesn't look likely that the UK would get involved in the same way today, particularly whilst the Strait of Hormuz and the war is ongoing. The other area that was a flashpoint yesterday was just on the northeast tip of Egypt. An American-owned gas storage vessel was apparently struck by a drone, and a separate report said that there were actually 2 fires blazing up there. So if we look at the map, what started off as an American-Iran war has actually expanded considerably to be a regional conflict. There's also reports that a shipment of Chinese weapons is making its way to Iran. Now, the Chinese foreign minister says that this story is not true, but the report suggests that 400 surface-to-air missiles are inbound to Iran. Now, they're all shoulder-mounted surface-to-air missile systems. This one here is the Stinger. That's not what's being transferred, but we're using it to illustrate the point. These are infrared guided, they track the fighter jet heat signature, they're supersonic, and they're incredibly dangerous for the aircrew. So why is Iran seeking to get hold of these? Well, Iran has no answer militarily to the superpower that is America, particularly air power that's raining down destruction on Iran day and night. But if Iran could get lucky and strike a US fighter jet with one of these, recover the crew, that would be a massive PR coup for Iran and potentially even swing the course of the war. Technology throughout warfare has always been absolutely crucial. For Ukraine in its war with Russia, a David versus Goliath battle, Ukraine has sought technology advantage through drones to try and swing the course of the war in its favour. Iran is learning the lessons. It is now trying to leverage its relationship with China and Russia to find technology asymmetric advantage in its war against America.